Um, who loves TED Talks? TED Talks. I personally love TED Talks. I love watching, I love reading, and I recently watched a Brian Stevenson presentation. He earned the longest standing ovation in TED history. And can you imagine? 65% of his presentation was devoted to storytelling. After reading this book, Talk Like TED, thanks my dear club for giving me this present, I turned upside down. My view on storytelling turned upside down, because a good story can connect you. A good story is a powerful tool for demonstrating and bringing to life a key message. It's one of the best ways to be memorable, and a really juicy story will keep you on the edge of your seats. So let's find out. Welcome on the stage, Lukas, Liebich, project manager and program manager and soft skill trainer. He's crazy about Toastmasters, and since July 2018, he has been working as program quality director for District 110, Wild East of Europe, supporting clubs in providing outstanding experience to their members. Lukas loves traveling around Europe to deliver his trainings, and he enjoys meeting interesting and motivated people. Exactly the sort we get among Toastmasters. Welcome back on the stage, Lukas.
Ladies and gentlemen, the toughest of the tough. I'm aware of the fact that we had quite a lot of time sitting without a break. So quick question from my side. Would you welcome to a 5-minute break to make a bio break, then come back in 5 minutes so we can fully focus on the workshop? Yes? Okay, 5-minute break. We resume in 5 minutes, but make sure you're back in 5 minutes, all right? All right, ladies and gentlemen, we'll be starting in about 13 seconds. Feel free to take your seats. You can give a wink to the people who are outside that if they don't want to miss anything, now is a good time to come back. All right. Ready for the workshop? Yes. You sound ready. Excellent. First of all, my big compliments to all of you who made it all the way until the last workshop of the day. Well done, and a round of applause to all of you for making it this far. Brilliant. Quick survey. Who in the room has already seen the movie Bohemian Rhapsody about the band Queen? Wow, quite a few. And how many of you now cannot stop listening to Queen? Quite a lot. I can tell you, I had exactly the same experience. I kind of knew about Queen. It was one of my dad's favorite bands, but they were never my favorite. But after I saw the movie, I just can't stop listening to them. And you know why? The band got better with the story. Again, it convinced me that storytelling truly is one of the most important skills we have nowadays, because stories change everything. Another example, a couple of years ago, there was a guy somewhere in the US who did an experiment with goods on eBay. He bought 30 items of goods, $1 each. $1 each. Random items such like a deck of cards, an old cup, a CD of a band that nobody remembered anymore. And what he did, he bought these items, he wrote a short story about each and every single of these items, and he put them back on eBay with that story. The prices skyrocketed. Some items he sold for $5, some for $10, some for $72. Again, another example that storytelling is really crucial. And I could talk to you a long time about how great stories are, but I thought that it would be maybe even more impressive if you experience the effect firsthand. Would you be up for that? Now, let me tell you, this includes a little emotional manipulation from my side to you. Are you okay if I emotionally manipulate you just for the sake of learning? All right, in that case, let me tell you a story. In my role as program quality director, I travel around Europe to deliver different workshops in Toastmaster communities and club officer trainings. And this time, it was in August, I traveled from Prague to Kiev. And what I like about flights to Kiev is they are late in the evening, and therefore when I fly, I do not need to take break from my work. I do not need to take days off because the flights are very late in the evening. The disadvantage is I usually get very late to bed. And therefore, whenever I travel there, I try to make the travel as quick and smooth as possible. So on this evening, I know that my flight is scheduled for 10:40 in the evening. So I am at the Prague airport, it's 10:10, about boarding time. Nothing happens. 10:20, nothing happens. 10:30, nothing happens. 10:40, when I should be taking off, they call boarding. And I know already that I'll be at least 30 minutes delayed. How annoying. So I enter the plane, and during the flight, nothing happens. You know, I fly with Czech Airlines. And if you're familiar with Lufthansa and Ryanair, Lufthansa, luxurious flights, very expensive. Ryanair, no service, super cheap. Czech Airlines has prices of Lufthansa, but service of Ryanair. Nothing really happens during the flight. So the plane lands in Kiev 2 hours later, plus 1 hour time difference. And I don't know if you have the same experience, but on the flights I am taking, whenever the plane stops in the airport, everybody jumps up from their seats as if the plane would be continuing to a next station that they do not want to miss. Well, I'm thinking, Lukas, you are a smart guy. There is no rush. So I sit there, these people standing up, then they rush outside from the airplane. I am the last person out of these 200 to leave the plane. What I forget about is that there is a passport control, because clearly Ukraine is not in the European Union, and therefore these 200 people are ahead of me in the passport control. I am the last to get through, plus 30 minutes. Finally, I get through, I get to my cab, I get to the hotel, Hotel Liebich, Kiev city center, and when I arrive there, there is this nice sign at the door. It says, "We are expecting you." Which is kind of nice after exhausting travel. Ah, they are expecting me. How cool. I get to the reception, I get my key card, I take the elevator, go up to the 6th floor, room 617. I wave my key card in front of the lock, I open the door a little bit, and I see, that's weird. The room looks a little bit messy. Maybe they forgot to clean it up. I open the door a little bit more. I say, oh, it looks like they didn't even make the bed. That's extremely weird. And I open the door a little bit more, and then somebody says, "Hey!" And what happened was... And if I don't tell you now what happened, isn't it a bit annoying? It is, huh? Ladies and gentlemen, right now you're flying high on dopamine. It's pumped up into your blood, and that's why you focus, and whatever happened in that hotel in Kiev, the moment I tell you, you will remember it for the rest of your lives. If I tell you. Anyway, let's move a little bit further. Actually, this idea of storytelling, acting on the levels of hormones comes from neuroscience, and David J.P. Phillips sums it up in his TED Talk, The Magical Science of Storytelling, which I highly recommend you to watch. Besides dopamine that you experience right now, the second hormone is oxytocin, is the hormone that builds human connection and relationships. And third, endorphin. Ever attended a movie? All the time the hero was fighting, in the end the hero prevails, and you're leaving the cinema, the world is great, he lived happily ever after. Nothing changed in your life, but the movie had a happy ending, so you're feeling in euphoria. That's because of the endorphins. So clearly, the hormones, they do have impact on your audience, and you want to use it whenever you're delivering a presentation to keep your audience engaged, to make them connect to you at human level, and maybe to make them feel happy, which sometimes it's quite useful working with your audience. Now, why people do not tell stories more often? The first objection is, I do not know how to tell stories. I am not a storyteller. Let me demonstrate. Well, together we will demonstrate that actually all of us are storytellers. Without any preparation whatsoever, we will create a story about those two people on this slide. I will be asking you questions and I want you to shout back the answers. Suggestion, you can make them up, all right? If somebody of you knows one of these two people, no, we're good, fine. Okay, so I'll be asking a question, you will be shouting out your answer. Clear? Good. So, who is the man on the picture? Husband of whom? Okay, husband of this lady? Okay, from the back. Who is the lady on the picture? Police? Colleagues. Okay, she is his colleague. Excellent. What business are they in? They're both accountants. Excellent. Now, this is already becoming very exciting. Why is the lady smiling? Okay. She stole money. She stole money. Very good. What is it that the guy doesn't know about her? Tell me. Sorry, she has? She has an affair. Excellent. She has an affair. Whom does she have the affair with? Boss. With her boss. Okay. And if we looked at the picture 1 hour later, what would this guy be saying? Can you tell me?
I want a divorce.
Right. I want a divorce. You are a great audience. I think we can make a movie around this story, right? So what you saw, without any preparation, also without any coordination, we were able to create together a story about two people that we never saw before. We actually never saw the face of the guy anyway. With a snap of a finger, because it's natural to tell stories. It's natural. We are primed for that. Since we are raised as children, our parents are telling us stories. Since we speak about our daily experience, we give it in a frame of a story. So giving stories is natural. All of you can do it. The second demonstration is, I think it's time that each of us comes up with a story of their own, because we all are walking storybook. I think this comes from Florian Mück, one of my favorite trainers, originally from Germany, now living in Barcelona, Spain. And we all are storybooks. Actually, you can just think of the objects you are wearing when you want to come up with a new story. This will be the next exercise. Before we go there, let me demonstrate an object you are wearing, all right? I will tell you why my socks do have emotional value for me. Before that, I think it's fair to show my socks. Do you agree with that? For educational purposes, don't be afraid. So these are my socks. I wear colorful socks. And now I will confess something that is a little bit awkward. I never bought my own socks until the age of 32. Exactly. I'm 34. Until the age of 32, it was always my grandma who was buying me socks. She's fine now, she's alive, happy and healthy and everything, but she's not buying my socks anymore. Do you know why? Because my grandma always bought me black socks. And I told her, Grandma, why can't you buy me 20 pairs? No, but she always buy me 1 or 2 pairs of black socks. And the problem is, when I stuffed them all in the washing machine and I was taking them out, it took me 45 minutes to make the pairs properly. Anybody else in the room has a similar experience? Yes. And then I started reading some self-development books about making my life simple. I told my grandma, this has to stop. I went to Berlin, and in a shopping mall called Galeria Kaufhof, I bought 10 pairs of shiny blue socks, 10 pairs of purple socks. And since there, my socks are colorful and my life is simple. That's why my socks have emotional value for me. Now, I would like you to think about an object you're wearing that has emotional value for you. And I would like you to tell this in pairs. Okay? So I give 10 seconds to each of you first to make pairs. Find a partner. If you cannot make pairs, groups of 3 are fine too. And before we get there, we need to agree. We need to agree how we bring the room back to silence. So I do not need to, we do not need to shout. So quick comment how to bring the room back to silence. When I raise my hand, my wish is that everybody else raises their hand. If you see my hand is raised, please raise your hand. And when your hand is raised, you cannot speak. And this way we bring the room silence to continue the workshop after the exercise, okay? Let's practice. I raise my hand. Very smart audience. I love you already. Okay, so now please make pairs. You already have pairs. And tell your partner about one object you are wearing now that has emotional value for you. Before we start, any questions? Any questions before we start? All clear? How long? It will be about 10 minutes. So in these 10 minutes, try to say and then swap. Okay? 2 minutes. 2 minutes exercise. 3, 2, 1, go! All right. Fabulous. Well done. Impressions. Christina, how was it for you?
Actually, very, very interesting and very emotional because I was talking about my clothes and I remember the story connected to these clothes and it was like so sweet.
How much time did you need for preparation?
Nothing. It's just like I remember the story and repentantly I started talking to Gaia.
Excellent. Gaia, how was it for you to listen to Christina's story?
It was very interesting because I know Christina not the first day. So I understood her emotions and her feelings about this dress.
Well, thank you, ladies. Question to the room. If you find it sometimes difficult to find a topic for your speech in Toastmasters, can you raise your hand? Well, right now you have experience. You do not need any preparation whatsoever. You are walking storybooks. You just need to look at what you're wearing today and you have at least one story. You do not need any specific preparation for that story, and it is interesting for the people who are listening to you to listen to you because you are sharing your own experience, and this is something that all of us can relate to. So you are walking storybooks and you can do that without preparation. That's one great advantage of telling stories. And I know you can tell me, well, Lukas, but okay, these are clothes, but I don't want to speak just about my clothes and about things I'm wearing. I don't have enough stories. Oh yes, you do. There are different ways how you can find out about the stories that you have. Let me share with you another technique that you can mine stories from your life. If you have pen and paper, pick your pen and paper and we can do this exercise together. This story or this technique is from another European trainer I like a lot. His name is Peter Zinn. He lives and works in the Netherlands and it's called Lifeline. And in this technique, you are going to draw the line of your life. How it looks, you draw one axis, and this is the axis of time. Here is the moment when you are born, and here, not the moment you die, don't worry, we're not going to go that far. Here is today. I already told you that I'm 34, so I will write there the number. You don't have to if you don't feel like it. And here, it's your happiness level. Mega happy. Super sad. Super sad. And what I would like you to do, when I say it's time to start the exercise, I would like you to plot how your life developed for you emotionally and identify the breaking points. Let me demonstrate. When I was born, I was kind of fine. Slightly positive. Then, 7 years of age, they got me to a hospital. They put me to a hospital for 1 month. They thought there was something weird about me, and I didn't know what was weird, and that made me very sad. I came back from the hospital. Good again. 13, my parents got divorced. That was kind of bad, so dropped a bit. 16, I met my first love. 20, we broke up. Luckily for me, soon after I found my second love. We got to the university. We broke up with the second love. I started work in management consulting. Started work in my current job in MSD. and I live happily ever after. Right now, I am at the Moscow area conference. Okay, if you feel like it, I will give you 1 minute to draw exactly the same, well, not exactly the same lifeline. This one is mine, all right? But using the same principles, draw the line of your life with all the ups and downs, because as Alex said in his workshop, life is like a roller coaster, and what you want to look is the highs and the lows, and each of them is hiding a story. And this is the way how you can find them, all right? I will give you 1 minute. Do the lifeline exercise. Questions before we start? All clear. 3, 2, 1, go. And draw. Any more seconds. Drop your pens. Okay, no, this is not a test, it's cool. A couple of more seconds for those who need to finish. In the meantime, Yuri, would you like to, have you identified any interesting points on your lifeline?
Just know that the graph goes quite just shows how I felt in my life, so that ends the story.
Okay. And if you look now at the moments when the graph is breaking, can you think of a situation that made you feel that way? I understand. And that's fine. So first of all, this exercise is a tool for you that will help you think and look at your life from a little different perspective. Anybody who identified a specific moment in their life right now, raise your hand. All right. How about you? What moment did you identify?
My favorite moments were moving to Moscow.
Moving to Moscow.
Yes, and entering university.
Entering university.
Yeah, I think, and finding the job I have now.
Excellent. Have you given a speech about either of these 3 moments?
No.
Well, you've got 3 speeches prepared right there, right away. This is another way. And again, you can say, but these are personal things, and this workshop is storytelling for business professionals. Well, let me tell you one thing. You can alter the axis because it's more simple and what everybody understands. We use this on personal level from the moment you were born till today. But if you like to speak about your professional experience, you can make the beginning point, for example, the moment you started your current job. You can make the end point also today. And you can focus on the highs and lows that you are experiencing in your current job. And this way, you will be able to come up with stories also for your business presentations. All right? So that was the exercise about how to find out your own stories. Wise men said this. Well, the takeaway is, I suggest when you are telling stories, do not steal them. That means when it's a story of somebody else, do not say, yes, when I was hunting elephants in South Africa, if you didn't do that, because that kind of decreases your credibility. However, what you can do, when you're telling stories, they all do not need to be yours. There are all kind of sources that you can use to draw for storytelling, and you can tell the stories using these sources. Examples: books, business books, particularly American business books, but all kinds of business books, they carry a lot of stories. There's always one statement and you have 3 stories to support it, right? What I do when I work with such books, I write back into these books and I highlight the stories that I want to use later in one of my presentations. Another great source, TED Talks. Again, TED Talk, somebody comes up with a smart idea, he tells you 3 sentences, shows 1 chart, and then adds 3 stories. TED Talks are stories, stories, stories. So my suggestion to you is, when you'll be telling stories, if you want to improve your storytelling, the stories, they do not need to be yours. You can take stories from other sources, from other people, and use them. Another potential complaint, objection, but my stories, they don't work. This is what we're going to look in the last part of the workshop. How to really make your stories work. I always thought, before I joined Toastmasters, that, storytelling, it's some magic or another magic or, rocket science, but in fact, it's not. What I suggest to you is approach storytelling like cooking. Well, it can be also science sometimes, but try to simplify it. You can produce good working business story when you approach it as you need a proper set of ingredients and you put them together in the right order. How to do that? Simple. There are 3 parts that every business story must have: context, action, and results. Context, action, and results. Once you have these 3, you're going to make it work. Now, how exactly you can put this into action, we're going to talk about in just a minute. Before we go there, thanks to the organizers of the conference, we printed out for you an example story. And this is the moment when I would like to call Diana to help me out with the handouts. And if you can, you will now receive handouts of a story. I would like you to read through the story. And once you finish your reading, please give me a wink so that I know that you finished reading and we can continue with the discussion, okay? Before everybody gets their papers, are there any questions so far to what we discussed? Any questions, any experience putting stories together? All right. Please have a look at the papers, read them, and think how this story makes you feel. Please, question. Yes, yes. Okay, well, thank you very much for the question. For those who didn't hear, the question was, what do you do when your life is boring? I think now everybody has a piece of paper, so I will come back and I will answer your question once we finish the reading, yeah? But I will answer the question. All right. 1 minute for reading for everyone. Sergey, you finished? Very good. 5 more seconds for the slow readers in the back. And I do have a question. Juan Pablo, how do you feel about the story you just read?
I haven't finished yet. I have a feeling there are too much data.
Too much data, okay. Other feelings in the room. Anybody else would like to express their feeling about the story? Hands up. Please.
Order can be changed to the message.
Excellent. How would you change the order?
For example, you can start from the last sentence. Understand you can consume this deeply, and you can build your story around.
Super. Thank you. Great observation. If you felt a little bit confused about the story you just were reading, can you raise your hand? For whom it wasn't exactly clear. Excellent. Well, first of all, thank you for your honesty. And yes, this is the right feeling to have about this story. This story doesn't work. And the simple reason is, as you have mentioned, the story, the paragraphs are in the wrong order. Because we said context, action, results. However, this story starts with action. And context is added only later on. What this creates in the mind of the reader, or when you are presenting in the mind of the listener, is confusion. Because here in the story, and we do it so often, that's why we're now spending time on it, we start describing the action because the context of the situation is in our head. We know what happened, why we did what we did, but the problem is nobody else in the room knows why we did what we did. And when we start describing the action, then our audience get confused exactly the way how you got confused now reading the story. So please, please, bottom line, make sure that whenever you tell your story, start with the context. All right? Can you agree on that? Next time you tell a story, you will give a context to your listeners? Yes? Very good. I think we are on the same boat. Excellent. Now, how exactly you need to do that? First, context in detail. Number one, what every story needs is you need to place it in time. Where and when. Where and when did it happen? Because it differs for the story, whether it's Moscow yesterday, or it's Prague 100 years ago, or it's Mars 2355. Right? It can be, the same heroes, but it will be a different story based on where and when it happened. Number two, you need a hero. You need the person who is driving the story, somebody who has stakes in, somebody who wants something to happen, somebody who cares about the result. You need the hero. Always. You need to explain to your audience who is the hero, who cares. Number three, clear desire. You need to tell your audience what the hero wants. Because unless there is something that the hero wants, there is no story. The hero is not going anywhere. And last, you need a villain. It does not need to be a bad person, but it needs to be an obstacle that prevents the hero of achieving his or her desire. You need the villain. Now, let me give you an example why villain is particularly important. I will tell you one of my favorite stories. A man wakes up in the middle of the night, hungry. He decides to get a sandwich. So he walks to the kitchen, opens the fridge, gets a sandwich, eats it, and goes back to bed. End of story. Liked it? Some people like it, that's fine. But you feel that there was something missing in the story, right? So let me give you a second version. Man wakes up in the middle of the night, hungry. He decides to go get a sandwich. He gets to the kitchen, and the fridge is gone. And there is the story, right? Because it raises a lot of questions. First of all, the man did not get what he wanted. And where the hell is the fridge? How often does it happen to you that you go to your kitchen and the fridge is gone? My suggestion to you, whenever you are telling your story, make sure that you take the fridge away. Make sure there's always fridge missing in your story. To give another example, if you have seen the movie Titanic, can you raise your hand? Seen movie like Titanic? Okay, everyone in the room, excellent. So imagine Titanic. There is Titanic, goes across the Atlantic Ocean, no iceberg, arrives to New York. End of story. I mean, kind of boring. It's the iceberg that makes the Titanic an interesting movie. It's the iceberg, it's the obstacles, it's the villain. Make sure your story always does have a villain, all right? Can we agree on that? Always a villain? Brilliant. We continue, with examples. Harry Potter, fans of Harry Potter in the room? Couple of? Yes. Where and when does Harry Potter take place? Yes. I didn't think it was a challenging question. Yes, Hogwarts, kind of nowadays, right? Couple of years ago. Who is the hero of Harry Potter? Yes, it wasn't a trick question. The hero of Harry Potter is Harry Potter, and the lady in the middle gets extra points. What does the hero want? Well, he wants to be happily ever after, to get rid of the bad guy. And who is the villain? Lord Voldemort. The bad guy. He prevents Harry Potter of having an easy life. So story like any other story you can think of, Harry Potter does have these 4 elements of context. Then you've got the action, these guys fighting 7 volumes of a book or 8 titles of a movie. You continue, result. What is the result of Harry Potter? What is the ultimate learning from the Harry Potter saga? Anyone? Next, what is that? Oh, next slide. Excellent. Yes, you were in doubt, and I can tell you I'm in doubt too. I read all the books this January and February, and I don't know, but it's okay because it's work of fiction. The purpose of Harry Potter is to entertain us, and therefore there is no big problem if it's not clear what is the result of it, what is the takeaway from Harry Potter. I think it's quite fine. But for your business stories, trust me, if you want to make sure your audience doesn't have the feeling that you were wasting your time, make sure that you do have a takeaway from the story. Can we agree on that? You will always have a takeaway from the story. You will know what is the takeaway for the audience. Yeah? Okay, good. Now, we continue with context, action, result, and your story. So all of you prepared a story based on an object that you are wearing in the beginning, okay? Right now, I would like you to make it a story using exactly the story structure that we were using in the conversation. I would like you to add where and when, the hero, the villain, the desire, to put their action and to put their takeaway. All these elements, you can see them behind me. Can you see that? Are there some people in the back for whom it's difficult to read? People in the... Oh, Sergey, can you read it well in the back? Okay. So what I would like you to do now is to work on your own and put the story using this template. First, you say where and when. Second, who is the hero. Third, what is the desire of the hero. Fourth, what is the villain, what prevents the hero achieve what they wanted. Then you describe the action, and you finish with the takeaway of the story. You will have 3 minutes to prepare your story. Okay? 3 minutes, and then we might have some volunteers to come present on the stage. Any questions before we start? All clear. All right. 3, 2, 1, go. Prepare your story. All right. Quick questions to the audience. How did it go? Dima, how did it go this time? Tina, how was it? Working, trying to pass the story into this frame.
I cannot find the obstacle.
You couldn't find an obstacle in your story?
Because I was telling the story about this scene, which I have, but it's not mine, it was made by one person. And I was trying to tell her story, and it's kind of weird because I don't know what kind of obstacles she had.
I understand, and it's great that you identify it in this moment. So if you want to improve that particular story, the moment you find an obstacle, it will get a lot better. All right, I think it's important now that each of you has an opportunity to practice to tell your story again with this improved by this framework. So what we're going to do now is the same pairs as you worked before. I would like you to again tell this story improved by the framework. Before we start, any questions? Any questions? All clear? All right, so please once more make pairs, and we make 3 minutes now, so you have a chance to tell the story one another. All right, 3, 2, 1, go. All right. Thank you. Tatiana, how did it work this time?
It was
It wasn't special story? Okay, but how was it different now from the previous moment when you did it without any structure? How was it different? If it was different, if it wasn't different, that's fine too. It was too emotional?
It was not so emotional, yes. It was just like story, just, yes, not some moments, so high moments. So, and the second time it was better with the structure.
Yes? It worked more on emotions for the second time?
Yes.
All right, well, thank you. Okay, how about Kirill? Would you like to say, how was it for you the second time?
It's good. Just one question. To me it was hard to my story about my black socks to this structure because I don't know who is hero, what is desire,
But sorry, my English is not very well.
Don't worry, it's fine. It's all right.
But I understand the structure is good, but not for my story, maybe.
And that's all right as well. So like any tools that you are using, and thank you for sharing that. Like any tools that we're learning, they are all just tools. The advantage of this one, using a structure for your story, it either helps you improve your story and it helps you make the story work, or if it doesn't, it will clearly point at where are the gaps in your story. And you either might try to fill the gaps, or you decide that actually, this idea you have for a story doesn't fulfill all the parameters because it's the guy go get the sandwich in the fridge, gets the sandwich and goes back to the bed, and you realize that actually in your speech or presentation you need to be using something different, right? But great that you have this experience, and I will then share with the organizer of the conference links for the book where this framework is taken from, and there are some free resources, so that expands a little bit on the knowledge and will guide you how you can make each and every single of your business stories work. If you use this framework, I can guarantee you it will always make sense to your audience. I think now is a very good time for a recap, but before we go to the recap, let's check what is it that we remember about the couple from the start. So, who is the man? Accountant. Who is the woman? Exactly. What is their relationship?
Husband and wife.
Okay, what is it that he doesn't know about her? What happens 1 hour after this picture is taken? Yes, yeah. Isn't it interesting? 1 minute discussion over a picture that nobody cared about. These people don't even have their faces, but you remember everything.
Because it's a popular story.
It's a popular story, exactly. Stories work. You have just experienced it. Whenever you can, add stories to your presentations because they will make people remember what you had to say. Do you want to hear how it ended? I think so. I know you want to hear how it ended. So what happens there, I'm in front of the hotel room, I'm opening the door and somebody shouts, "Hey!" I look inside the room and I see, oh my God, there is a fat bald guy in my bed. And I also realize this is not time to get philosophical. So I shut the door and run back to the elevator. I'm kind of upset about it, I can tell you that. It's about 2:30 in the morning. But as I'm driving down the elevator, I think, well, maybe it was intended as special service. Maybe this is what Hotel Ibis provides for their special customers. So I exit the elevator, I go to the reception, I thank you, yes, there is a fat bald guy in my bed, thank you very much, but do you have a room without one? Clearly the lady at the reception is surprised because she doesn't get such requests very often, but 30 minutes later, they book me, they open another room and she actually goes there with me so that she opens the door whether it's another person in my bed. That room was empty, so at 3:30 at night, I finally get to sleep. What is important and why I am sharing you this is that once it happened, before I fall asleep, even though I'm super tired, what I do, I take out my phone and I describe what just happened to one of my friends in a Facebook message. And I do that because this way, by me sharing an interesting moment, I remember the story. Otherwise, the story would disappear. But when you share it, you actually remember. And the proof that I remember it is that I'm sharing it with you right now. So when something interesting happens to you, share it with someone right away. And then you will be able to keep the story for later use. Next things for the recap. Highs and lows. This is where the stories are hidden in your life. Roller coaster. You don't need to have all stories on your own. You can just watch a TED Talk. There's a ton of stories in each and every one of them. And approach storytelling like it is cooking. You just need the proper set of ingredients and put them together in the right order. Remember, context, action, results. How did context go? What is this? Hogwarts. Where and when? Then? Harry Potter, the hero. This? The desire. What does Harry Potter want? And we finish with the villain, Lord Voldemort. Excellent. Then action. And then the story. Now, the last question before we finish the workshop, how to incorporate this into your life. And here goes my suggestion, because often we attend conferences, we attend workshops, and we sleep on it, and then nothing happens. Ever happened to you before? Right, so as we finish, take out your phone, look at your calendar, and look at the meetings you have in the next week. It can be a Toastmaster meeting, it can be a presentation you have for your colleagues, but look at where is the next opportunity for you to use a story. And write down which story you want to use in that meeting or presentation. This way, you will use the context, you will use the framework that we have just learned, and this way, you will really put this into practice. The last thing that I would like to leave you with is, we all already are storytellers. It's natural for us to tell stories. The only thing you need to do it, to try it out. You know you can do it, you know it works, you know how to do it. Now, the sky is the limit. Have a great day.